The Centurion Project. Written by the 8th Day of Night. Chapter 54. The March. Section 2. Part 2. His words played perfectly on Bearhide's obvious pride, and the Minotaur stood straighter, flexing his muscles.
"It would take the best blade in the world to pierce my hide,"
he boasted.
"I hide behind no armor because I need none. My fist outpower any mace, and my skin is tougher than any bristly, bony armor."
His grin turned into a sneer.
"Even if it's worn by a skinny little calfling with big legends behind him."
I spat into the grass at his feet and smiled back.
"We'll see."
Bearhide's sneer widened back into a broad smile, and his eyes began combing over Elias from head to toe once more. From the corner of his eye, Elias could see that Lionheart was halfway between happy that he hadn't provoked the naked Minotaur into a fight, and furious that he had spoken at all. The Elder, on the other hand, just looked happy for the former, and he looked back to Lionheart with a diplomatic smile.
"Apologies for the provocative words of my ally, General Lionheart. Younger warriors are always hot-blooded. I'm sure you've had similar issues."
Lionheart's eyes flicked to Elias, then back to the Elder. "Of sorts. Now, to whom am I speaking, and what business do I have with you?" The Minotaur offered a low bow.
"I am Elder Stonehoof of the Stone Crusher tribe."
He motioned to the armored Minotaur.
"This is my son, War Chief Stonehorn, and as you already heard..."
He motioned to the naked Minotaur.
"This is Chieftain Bearhide of the Jagged Horn tribe. The matter we must discuss is the toll for your, as you described it, pass-through of our lands."
Lionheart's smile wavered ever so slightly, becoming strained. "Toll?" he echoed. "Pardon, gentle colts, but there is no toll for this road. That was written into the treaties that were signed when it was constructed."
"Treaties that also stated that no pony would ever leave the road,"
Stonehorn said with a derisive snort.
"Yet you have already done so twice in large numbers. Or perhaps our scouts were mistaken when they mentioned your construction of a large fort on our lands."
"That fortification is temporary and will fall to pieces in a year or two without maintenance," Elias said. "We built it only to ensure that our camp was safe and easy to defend." He thought, but left unsaid.
"Regardless,"
Elder Stonehoof said,
"your forces violated the treaty first, and as such, we have a right to enact a toll for trespassing on our lands."
Lionheart let out a light sigh. "And I suppose that's the same justification you gave to every merchant and wanderer that so much as pitched a tent in the grass, just before you robbed them blind." Elias blinked at the bluntness of the insult and looked towards the other ponies to make sure he hadn't been the only one to say it. All eyes were on Lionheart, however. Elias frowned. No, that wasn't quite true. One set of eyes paid no mind to the discussion and the insults being thrown around. After being admonished, Bearhide remained carefully silent, yet Elias noticed his lips moving, just barely. His eyes no longer ogled Elias, but instead he looked past the human. A glance down found the Minotaur's fingers flicking with disguised motion, something he imagined he was supposed to look like excited twitching. If the Minotaur was carrying a weapon, perhaps even he would have believed the motion. But Elias knew what the naked Minotaur was truly doing, even as his eyes continued to scan the long column of ponies. Elias let his hand straight to his sword as Stonehorn took a step forward, towering over Lionheart.
"I suggest you take your words back, pony, because if you know anything about Minotaurs, you would know that we don't take to idle insults."
"And yet your chieftain so casually spits them at one of my allies," Lionheart replied calmly. "If you do not wish to receive insults, do not speak them. This is the only warning I will give you." Stonehorn sneered.
"We do not need warnings, pony. But I will keep it in mind when my army rips you into tiny little pieces and—
Stonehoof's staff cracked into the back of the young Minotaur's head, silencing him. The older Minotaur then put himself between Stonehorn and Lionheart and shoved him backward.
"Enough!"
he bellowed.
"I did not bring you out here to boast or calf spawn. You are here to watch and to listen, to learn to be a proper war chief as your brother is. Yet you would bring disgrace and disfavor on our tribe with your cowardly, unbacked words."
Stonehorn winced but tried to buck up, only to be shoved again. Stonehoof butted heads with him.
"Be silent, calf spawn. You are not a proper war chief yet. You bear no right rings. You are not even close to my equal until you are. I hold all sway until I tell you otherwise, unless, of course, you seek to challenge me."
Stonehorn fully withered and then bowed his head.
"No, Elder. Do not wish that. I will await your word."
Stonehoof snorted in his son's face and glared at him for a moment more, then pulled away. He tapped his staff in the grass for a moment, taking deep, loud breaths. Elias continued to watch as Bearhide did a careful count of the army, only barely paying attention to the negotiations. Stonehoof let out a sigh and turned around, still tapping his staff in the grass.
"Apologies, General Lionheart, but while my son is as dense as a tree is tall, his point is as I see it. Do not throw insult here. They serve you no good."
Then I expect the same in kind, for both myself and my fellow generals, Lionheart replied smoothly. Until proven otherwise, we are equal at minimum. Treat us as such. Stonehoof bowed his head.
"Of course. Now, the matter of the toll."
We didn't march an army here to pay tolls, Lionheart said evenly. But give me a figure. Perhaps if it's reasonable enough, we can pay it for peace of mind, if nothing else. Despite what should have been a sign of good intent for further negotiation, Stonehoof's expression didn't shift from a frown. If anything, he looked nervous if he spoke his figure.
1,000 bits per pony as a toll, and we take what we like from your wagons as tribute. We have many warriors that are looking for something to take home to sacrifice to the keepers, and these terms fill all of their needs."
The ponies all recoiled in visible shock at the outrageous terms. Are you mad? Shadowshield spat. That's an insane price. What's to stop all of your worthless cows from stealing of our food and leaving us with nothing for the rest of journey to the Sad Arabia? Lionheart cleared his throat loudly, shooting a death glare at the unicorn. Shadowshield withered back, staring hard at his hooves. Lionheart put on a diplomatic smile and addressed Stonehoof. Elder, you must realize that that figure is not feasible. We have thousands of ponies, and their armor isn't worth 1,000 bits. You would have to sell the very hides from their backs to secure passage along your road you did not build. I think not. I will personally gift you 100 bits and a selection from my winery. We can share a nice drink over your easily yet perfectly fair pay. Stoner shook his head.
No, that is not enough.
Lionheart gave him a shrug. That is the only offer you will receive. We are not carrying the kind of coin you demand, and even if we were, we would not hoof it over to you. We are not some hapless merchant you can bully. Elias hated the fact that he agreed with Lionheart's every word, and he faintly wondered why he hadn't been assigned to be chief diplomat. There was little, if anything, he would have done differently, and the fact ground on his nerves slightly. Not nearly as much as the spy gathering information on his ponies that was going to spark him to act if they didn't reach a deal soon. Something he knew would never happen as a helpless look spread across Stonehoof's face. The other sighed and stepped back.
War Chief, please make them see reason.
Stonehoof grinned and stepped forward with crossed arms. He moved forward until he towered over Lionheart, casting a shadow on the red-maned unicorn.
You backed up, little pony.
He chuckled.
The Elder's toll was light. Mine is not. The toll is now doubled, and we will require 50 ponies to pull those wagons to our tribe lands. They will not return.
He crouched down and poked a figure into Lionheart's breastplate.
You will be one of them, as well as one of those princesses that you have hidden away down there. We know they have no power, and we will claim one as our own.
Lionheart's smile vanished in an instant. No, you will not. I don't know who you think we are, but there isn't a pony in all of Equestria that wouldn't give their last breath for the princesses. Suggest that again, and I will cut you in two. Stoneheart stood up and laughed, throwing his head back.
Stupid pony! You have no idea what comes against you if you refuse!
He motioned with wide arms to the forest around them.
For every tree you see, there is 100 warriors ready to rain death on your puny army. The swords of 1,000 tribes has prepared for this most legendary of battles. The keepers themselves will sing our names into eternity as we finally secure our own voice in their ear.
His smile became savage, laced with anger.
For you see, you greedy little creatures, you have stolen the verdant fields from us. Each race has their own immortal voice to guide their path, but not the Minotaurs. We are ever scattered. We must buy our way into paradise with riches and glory earned, yet you sit idle and weak with 3 voices. We will no longer let your theft stand.
The zebras also have no immortal voice, as you say. Everfree injected. But that is their fault, as is your own lacking. You, like my ancestral people, are divided a nation filled with pointless, squabbling tribes, where Equestria has acted as a beacon of unity for thousands of years. My family was welcome there, and if you truly wanted to grow near the princesses, you would do so as my family did, through centuries of service and devotion. We've earned our place at the side of the sun and moon. You are little more than a sneak thief in the dark, taking what isn't yours. He spat at the Minotaur's hooves. You deserve nothing, and you will get nothing. Stonehorse snorted dismissively.
Shut your hole. You are a coward for fleeing your homeland to the weak arms of the ponies, and I will see you dead on the battlefield just before I take your princesses to act for my tribe.
He sneered at Nightshade.
Do take a message to Princess Luna Moon Demon. Tell her that she will be warming War Chief Stonehorn's bed in this life, and then again once we reach the halls of the Keepers. She will serve me for eternity, finally fulfilling her proper purpose in harmony.
He bumped a fist into the air, yelling his words to the sky.
Weak or strong, it doesn't matter, because they all serve the strongest.
He pounded his chest and laughed at the ponies.
Bray, little ponies, bray for strength, because my people are the strongest, and soon the world will recognize that.
No words prevented the tension from filling the air this time. Minor and Elias both glared hatred at the Minotaur, but the human had enough awareness to realize that he couldn't kill the Minotaur from so far away. He looked at Stonehoof, who looked much frailer than when he began. He looked almost defeated. Elias briefly wondered how much the elder supported his son's words, then decided that it didn't matter. He was too far away to strike either. The Minotaur in front of him, however... Elias took a step forward, drawing the bull's eyes down.
Seen enough, have you?
He challenged. HiE grinned.
And then some. I hope those ponies around that carriage are tough because they'll need to be.
Elias snorted.
We'll see. Or rather, I will.
His mouth twitched upward into a sadistic grin.
You're not going to see another sunrise.
Even as he spoke, Elias pulled his gladius free of its sheath and he slashed upward and across HiE's eyes. Feathers stuck true, biting a clear line across the Minotaur's face, blinding him in an instant. Any bluster the Minotaur had preached vanished as he screamed and fell to his knees, clutching at his now empty eye sockets. Elias snorted, flipped his gladius.
You really shouldn't tell people that your skin can withstand sword strikes.
It makes them target other areas first. Taking a breath, Elias gripped the hilt of his gladius in both hands and leaned back on his heel, then used the extra space to build momentum. Feather plunged deep into the Minotaur's stomach. the enchanted blade meeting only slightly more resistance than usual. Elias released the breath and let the gladius hang in its temporary sheath. He drew a knife from behind his back and pointed at Stonehorn.
And you, with your delusions of grandeur. Is that supposed to be intimidating?
That might work if you decide to attack first, but you approached us under a flag of truce. Elias laughed and grabbed one of Bearhide's horns.
I mean, really, the only thing you accomplished was to ensure that every pony here would fight to the last.
He plunged the blade into Bearhide's shoulder, twisting it to draw louder shrieks from the Minotaur. Elias left that blade in place as well, stepping back as Bearhide tried to blindly swing at him. The Minotaur, unable to hit anything, fell forward, whimpering and moaning as he squirmed in pain. Elias stepped over his flailing arm and drew a piece from his hidden arsenal. Spinning the hand axe around his wrist, he planted a foot on Bearhide's back.
But since we're dishing out ultimatums, here's mine.
He looked down with a grin.
I don't know what your final blade count was, Chief Bearhide, but you missed 3.
An axe raised high into the air, and as it began to descend, Chaser called out, "Elias, stop!" Elias' eyes closed as blood splattered his face. All the anger he felt for Stonehorn and his threats towards Luna traveled into the hand axe swing, and in one cut, the axe severed Bearhide's spine. Keeping his grip on the bull's horns, his hand axe descended once, then twice. His bad eye twitched as blood sputtered out, painting his face and armor in streaks of crimson. He didn't keep count of the first 3 strikes, but eventually, he felt the Minotaur's neck fully separate. Dropping his hatchet, Elias placed a hoof on the Minotaur's back, then gripped both of his horns and pulled. With a sharp, twisting yank, he pulled the head free. The massive body fell limp and screams of pain long stopped. Elias turned the head around and smiled at his handiwork. Then he looked at Stonehorn and tossed him the horn thing.
There you are, War Chief. A toll paid.
The Minotaur caught the decapitated head and stared blankly at it a moment, before slowly looking at Elias with eyes filled to the brim with blistering hatred. Elias needed a reply.
Here's my ultimatum, Stonehorn. You have no idea what kind of fire you're playing with, because whatever you think you know about ponies, I've changed it. That army down there is mine, and each of those ponies will fight to the bitter end once they've heard how you threatened their princesses. I dare you to come against our blades, because I can promise to you that I will ensure personally that your fetid corpse will decorate whatever battlefield we'll meet on.
His eyes flicked to Stonehoof, who was staring at him in open horror.
As for you, Elder, you seem to be the voice of reason, so tell your people what you saw today. Tell them exactly how easy it was for me to rip Chief Bearhide's head off, and tell them that if they come against my army, they will lose, and if by some miracle they do manage to win, they will not see it as such, because for every pony that falls, 10 Minotaurs will feed the worms. If you impede our path in any way, you will bear witness to the single greatest mass slaughter of Minotaurs in history.
Elias glanced around.
100 warriors for each tree, huh? My legionaries are pretty good at chopping down trees. I don't suppose slaughtering the lot of you will be much different.
He hated the touch of arrogance he could feel bleeding into his tone, but he knew it was necessary. He had to force them to come, had to make sure there were no surprises. If he pissed off Stonehorn enough, then he would be sloppy. He would simply throw waves of bodies, waves the armies of ponies were more than prepared to weather. Elias bent over and retrieved his hand axe, wiping it clean on an exposed piece of his tunic.
Now, I'm no expert, but I believe negotiations are concluded.
He turned over Bearhide's body and pulled both his dagger and his gladius free.
And I, for one, am happy that this one's dead. He looked awfully dangerous.
His eyes flicked up the Stonehorn again.
But then again, didn't you just learn that appearances aren't everything?
He wiped clean his other 2 blades as best as he could, then sheathed them, moving to retrieve the rest of his gear. Elias smiled at the stunned and disgusted-looking ponies.
I think it's time we move along, shall we?
Elias definitely did the smart thing, given that this guy was counting the army, or counting something. Probably just the formations and just seeing the numbers needed to bring down the equestrian march. So, Elias did 2 birds and 1 stone. He pissed the fuck out of the Minotaurs that had no plans to actually have peace. And he also killed the guy that was gathering their intelligence. So, Elias being big-brained once again. And I also love that he's mad that he literally agrees word for word what Lionheart was doing. So it's good to see that they're not too different. One's a little more brash, but when it comes to the princesses and, of course, the army, they seem to have the best interest for them. Who else also has the best interest for TCP are my wonderful Patreons. Thank you, my tier 1s, Angel Booth, Dreamless Portal, Hyperlink, 9Game, Lost Nebula, Mike McDonald, Redeemer of Dark, HHH4, Jason, Lord HiE, Megario, Pony Entertainment, and Julius Costa Peters. My tier 2s, Captain Blue, Shadow, Toonto Trooper, Andrew Ingram, Chaotic Mist, Cloud Zaza, Danish Dash, Jay the Firewolf, DJMax 2000, Elemental Wolf, Soul Eclipse, Weewoo, David M. Coleman, Dioxetine, Mackenzie Vicolas, G-Man 121 Garza, H1 Wolf King, Can Panzer, Mr. Crazy Deacon, Nobody, Nocturne, Rocky 2522, Styx, Potato 20, Saint Gonk, Rihanna Dragonwolf, Sword Brother Mordred, Voyal Cod, and Max Garbanzo. Thank you to my previous Titan tiers, Dark Guardian, Danish Dash, Maverick, User 1842, and Biss Eclipse, and Silent Titan. I appreciate your support so much, and it means a ton to me. That aside, however, this has been Firehearth. Have a wonderful day.